Welcome back,
Yo,
fellas.
yo,
HBCU in the building.
hey.
Once again. I'm gonna start off, guys. Simple and plain. Tribute to Chadwick Boseman, man. Uh, it's crazy because, yeah,
Right,
definitely.
right.
It's crazy because, man, you don't like. I always like to do movies. You know what I'm saying? Um, Now, you know how people talk about Denzel and talk about, how Trill is and all that type of stuff. You didn't never really hear like Chadwick name like that. No matter, you all the good movies that dude had, it's just kind of like you watch the movie, and you're like, man, that was a good movie, and you're done with it. You know what I'm saying? Then do hop to the next one, and it's just like banger after banger after banger, and you don't appreciate people. You know how people say you don't appreciate people till they're gone. I think he was one of those people, man. But what hit the hardest is and it's not that people don't do this already. People have issues and don't speak about it and don't say things, and we all know how he got ridiculed and trolled and about his weight loss situation. I honestly thought he was doing a movie role. I'm like, dude, the beast.
Bro, me too, man.
Yeah,
I
man.
was like,
Like,
man, what movie role is he playing it for?
yeah. So what to me makes it different for me for what he did, because talking about being talked about, that's one thing. It's for him. It probably was a lot, going through what he was going through and stuff like that, and then being able to keep quiet, stay humble, and do all the stuff that he did, man. Just think about that, man. That dude really embodied what we all should want to take a piece of. And I'm talking about still doing movies, still doing his job, you know what I'm saying? But not only that, giving back. He recognized the dude with the Waffle House shooting, gave his award away to that dude, just simple stuff like that, man. And going to see the kids that had cancer. I feel like we all can take some of that and just say, no matter how much you had taken away from you, man, you still got so much to give you. And I mean that, being a movie star is one thing, being a Black Panther, being James Brown and all that type of stuff like that, man. But the impact that he gave while he was here, and now that he's gone, you still can see it and still can feel it. And one of those people that's not recognized much, man, that's powerful to me. And I mean, it means a lot to me. It touched me. Just to kind of see how much of an impact that guy really was. And I'm hoping that we can take that and inject that into this group. So I did want to say that first, man.
Man, can I mind if I interject on that for a
Man, go
second, bro?
for it. Go for it, bro.
Bro, like it blew my mind, man. Like that he was like working 12-hour shifts, doing some of the movies that he was doing. I'm not sure which Avengers it was, but he was doing that while he was like going through chemo, you know. And then I don't know if you guys saw the ABC tribute that came out. I think that was yesterday. But they did a special tribute to him last night,
Yeah.
and
What's
and to
up?
hear like all the people talking about him, and then they showed him going to the hospitals. They showed some of the conversations that he had, and how passionate he was for like younger people and being a mentor and things like that. Man, it was like, and when you hear people speak that highly of you, like, other people have died in Hollywood, but I've never. I mean, I have, but not recently. Especially someone as young as he is, like
Yeah,
43 years old, like being that admired. So it was touching. It was.
man, definitely.
Oh,
Um,
John Thompson as well.
yeah, John Thompson. He passed.
Mm-hmm.
Man. It's just
In 2020, man.
it's a crazy year, man. I was thinking about us just doing what we're doing now, and then getting to the end of the year and doing a wrap up, bro. We'll need, whew, oh my goodness, it'll
Two
just be,
episodes.
man, it'll be overwhelming, bro. Just to even think about how much stuff we try to squeeze in to do a wrap up. But man, rest in peace, rest in power for sure, Chadwick. Um,
Yeah.
so I wanted to start off, man, with the resurgence of the craziness, meaning, what happened to Jacob Blake, and this Kyle Rittenhouse guy. all the stuff that's going on in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Man, I got my opinions about it, brother, but I just kind of want to get a feel for the room, man, just to, tell me, starting with Jacob, that situation. Just give me a piece of it. We ain't got to talk to the devil. I just want to kind of know what y'all feeling, bro.
Man, I don't care what that man was doing. Ain't no way you put 5, 7 shots in somebody's back like that. There's too many other options that they had that they didn't take. That's just my opinion. Be wrapping it up quick.
Yeah, I agree.
They, I say something quick. I mean, they don't care. I mean, they don't get away with it. They know what they're doing. I mean, like you said, there's no reason to put 7 bullets in somebody's back. Yeah, I mean, immediate threat. I mean, I'm just lost for words as far as how to say it. Whatever. But yeah, we being hunted.
How about you, Jay Star?
Man, I'm gonna say it like this, man. Being a cop is a tough job. So you have to, and everybody can't do it. And you have to be like, you have to be mindful and well trained. And it bugs me sometimes when I hear like people say, well, I think I heard the president say they goofed up or
missed the putt. It was like missing a putt.
Missed the putt.
Man said like missing a putt, man.
And I just it infuriated me because like in certain professions, man, you can't mess up. Like if you do, you're it's life or death. Like just like in a doctor, if a doctor messes up, bro, he can be sued like for malpractice. Like if a psychiatrist or somebody messes up and prescribes the wrong
so
medicine,
you feel like that whole situation was a mess up.
So yeah, if they mess, like the accountability, I feel like has to be there. So
yeah.
So if another person in a profession messes up and this person goes and shoots 20 people and you just let him off out the hospital, bro, is that a goof up? That's a missed putt. So it is frustrating to me, man, because I don't feel like it was necessary.
Yeah.
Especially somebody in that situation, and I can dive more into why I feel that way, but that's just
we'll get, we're gonna talk. You know what I'm saying? Just kind of want to get a feel for the room. What you thinking, J Rock? He said,
I'm trying to think how I can make it short. I mean, it's just redundant, man. I thought it was excessive. Of course, the stories, he had weapons and all that stuff, but I just don't see, man, outside of me with the gun blasting at you, that it takes 7 shots.
Yeah. I mean, the distance between them.
Right. That. So, of course, the argument is what was he doing and what didn't he do and all that. But I guess my biggest thing and my biggest frustration is, like you always hear, oh, they were scared, or the cop was intimidated, or whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. But it's like, I don't remember the last time I heard a cop be intimidated of a white person. So you got an unarmed black person, or just say he had a knife, a black person with a knife, and it's 4 cops with guns drawn, and y'all were so scared that y'all blasted him 7 times in the back, yet you go pick up Dylan Roof, who just literally murdered 9 innocent people, and that didn't scare you. You got him, walked him out, took him to Burger King.
My boy got a burger, man.
You got the guy, I forget his name, the guy in Wisconsin. Dude didn't even live in Wisconsin.
We're going to get to him.
Dude leaves, he goes to another state to help protect businesses. He just murked 3 people walking down the street and still got the assault rifle in his hand, but that didn't scare you. But an unarmed black person, they just put so much fear in you that it's unload time. So like I said, you just being My opinion, you're just being hunted. And the thing is, like J Star said, there's no accountability. Like I'm a banker. Let me send a Vito come in there to do $100,000 wire, and I don't check your ID, and come to find out somebody came and impersonated you, and I sent your $100,000 and it wasn't you. Guess what's happening to me? I'm a good guy, and I've been in the business for 10 years. My ass gonna be fired
You out of there.
You know, like Jay Star said, if I cut the wrong valve or artery, cool, you're a good guy, but you got to get out of here.
You out of there.
It's man, like, and my thing is like piggyback Jay Star, and I'll be quick. Like, okay, I get it. Yeah, it's great cops. I got friends that are cops. I talk to them often, sheriff, cops, everything. But at the end of the day, bro, you signed up for that. Nobody's forced to be a cop. And my thing is, if I'm a cop, I'm not expecting, this is going to be a good day. Everybody going to do exactly what I asked them and tell them to do. And nobody's going to be mad. And nobody's going to be drunk. What do you think you're going to be dealing with? You're dealing with criminals.
Right.
We don't need cops for law-abiding citizens. So my thing is, if you that shaky and scary, then that ain't the job for you. Or go get behind a desk, because you don't need to be on the streets, because you're only shaky and scared, it seems, to one race. And it's just shit. And it ain't just men, it's women too. So I don't know what it is about being brown that just scares them so tough.
Who knows, bro? What you got, Price?
So
that's Merc.
So I generally come. So I have a criminal background as far as working for a company, or actually accounting. That a public defender's office, basically. So a lot of times my viewpoint comes more from a legal background. I won't delve into the specifics yet of this case, but I honestly feel like you almost have to gauge this with two different scopes. If you're looking at it from the beginning to the end, you can draw one conclusion. And if you look, in my opinion, and if you're looking at it from, did this person deserve to die in front of his kids from 7 shots? That's a totally different perspective, in my opinion. As far as my beliefs on what happened, and was the cop warranted in his actions? I think there are facts that still remain to be known, whether this shooting him 7 times was justified. But nobody is happy to see somebody get shot in front of their kids. But my view is probably more conservative than everybody here. I tend to have more of I honestly don't feel like this is a Tamir Rice or a Lando Castillo or a situation like that. I don't think it's the same at all. Those people died when they did nothing wrong. Based off what we know, there are a lot of factors, in my opinion, that led to the action that happened in this case.
Even so, let's just say, you said there are some facts that still remain open that could have caused that. Just my opinion. I don't think that there is a singular fact that could come out that would justify it, for the simple fact that when you're talking about things like imminent danger, a threat to your life, those factors weren't there. His back was to him. Unless he had some sort of pistol in his asshole to shoot him, it wasn't happening.
So I disagree.
So I mean that's fair, but just looking at it, like you say, you look at the video. I don't care if you look at that jam from the beginning or the end. Fam was walking around the car with a cop at his back, so close that he had. Look at this one fact. He had his hand on his shirt. So if you follow me behind the car and around the car, you behind me. When I get to the other side of the car, the driver's side, you literally have to pass me in order to get behind me again. So he passed that man which would have made him get closer because he had to open the door. And instead of him taking the opportunity to grab him, pull him around the neck, or do anything else like that, he decided to get back behind him. At that point, it's almost intentional. You almost knowing what you want to do. It just seems that way to me. So, but then on top of that, a trained officer to take not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, but 7 shots. When one shot, even in the air, would warn somebody and make them react in a way that's possibly to calm the situation. But you want to shoot 7? You could have shot him 1 time.
So let me come back on that. So you talked about were there any factors that might have led to him shooting. So now all of this is speculation because we don't know 100% for certain. But some of the reports have said that they were aware that there was a knife in the vehicle. There have also been other reports that have stated that he potentially had a knife already, like during the altercation.
Let me ask you a question though. So what's crazy about that to me, if there are reports that say that they were aware that a knife was in the vehicle, if they're aware the knife was in the vehicle, why not seize the knife at that moment? That's just a question. Why not? Why? I mean,
another piece that if the knife was on him during the previous,
if he ain't stab you yet, when he gonna stab you?
So you asking multiple questions. You asking multiple questions. Yeah. Why would you be worried about a knife in the vehicle when you're on the outside talking to the guy? He's nowhere near the vehicle going inside to actually get the knife. You're not.
But you followed him to the vehicle.
Yeah. Why would I be concerned? Because if I'm there to answer that question, if I'm there to apprehend a suspect, period. If I'm there to apprehend a suspect, and if I know something is in your car that can potentially escalate the situation, as an officer, I'm remove that object from the car.
Not if you're not in the car. He wasn't in the car. So if you're outside of the car, you're gonna try to apprehend the subject.
I think the question, is if there were the speculation, if they knew there was something in the car, like if you get pulled over and you may have a warrant or something, and the police officer says, hey, or they know you have something in the car, shouldn't they remove? I would think there's protocol for them to remove that object from your car first.
Man, even if it ain't protocol.
I wouldn't think so. Let's put this scenario out there. Why would they be concerned about the weapon inside of the car when they're attempting to detain him when he's already outside the car? He's not going back in the car.
Okay, so I'll throw this back on you then. So you got 4 cops show up that already know that there's a weapon in the car. Mind you, like you said, they're apprehending the suspect that's outside of the car. That's not an immediate threat to him going to his car to get that weapon.
Right.
Once you have the scuffle and you have 3 or 4 cops, break out of that scuffle, and you see him go to the car, walk the whole front of an SUV,
he's chilling,
that has a weapon, and he's going to possibly retrieve that. How many steps does it take you to go from wheel well to wheel well of a vehicle? Like, how long does it take for them to say, okay, he's going for a weapon? Just the same way they say, like, if I'm going for a weapon when you, like you said. So to answer J-Star question, even if they pull you over and you're a concealed holder and you say, hey, I have a weapon in the car, I'm a concealed license holder, they'll either tell you, please get out of the car so I can get it, or tell me where it's at so I'll know, so you don't reach for it. I know that's the vicinity it's in, and we go from there. Now, if you have further warrants and this and that, they're pulling you out of the vehicle and then retrieving that. But even in that situation,
he did have a warrant, which was vacated.
Even in that situation, you got 3 or 4 cops that show up that know they have a weapon. Normally, in a situation like that, you would think that 1 or 2 cops would go and, again, retrieve that weapon while the other 2 cops handle the situation.
But the problem is we don't know how fast that situation escalates. That's still unknown. So we do know, according to what they stated, that he informed them that there was a weapon inside the car. Now, like I mentioned previously, there are so many reports. There's also a report that said he had a knife on him. If he had a knife on him, then that totally changes the whole premise of Why didn't they just tackle him? Why did they allow him to walk to the car? Because you're not going to tackle somebody with a knife. I mean, that would be crazy. If you know he has a knife now.
The
And he's
beginning of the
walking,
video looked like they were scuffling though.
Right. I mean, that may have been before it got there to that point. We don't. There's so many things that we don't know.
So regardless, so we, before we keep going on that, because there are things we don't know. I mean, things I don't care about personally. But let me provide some contrast to the situation. Let's talk about Kyle Rittenhouse. We're talking about a gentleman that is now a murderer, killed 2 people, one on camera, and shot another, walking down the street late at night during a very violent time. The only person that they could physically, well, I shouldn't say that, but seemingly the only person that they can see right in their viewpoint with a weapon, not just any weapon. He had an AR across his chest. He was walking down the street thinking that he was about to surrender. He got a complete pass, according to the video. They just looked like, oh, this is the same dude we threw bottles of water to earlier. So no big deal.
Right.
What if we talking about protocol? Mm-hmm. Sometimes you had to throw stuff aside and say, law or not, facts or not, there's a clear discrepancy. There is a clear racial situation here, because this young man has a gun and does not have any problems walking down the street. And that's
He shouldn't have, because there were several people. What you're not hearing from the media is that there were several people there with guns on both sides.
I saw the people with guns. So
there were also tons of people yelling to the cops that he just shot somebody. He just shot somebody too.
Right.
It's not even really muddy the waters in the sense of as far as, because I think that's as apples to oranges in the sense of, a traffic stop versus, again, somebody walking around open carrying this and that. Because there's videos we can pull up on YouTube and Instagram all day long where white people are shouting at the cops. They're throwing a ticket back in the people's face. They're stealing cop cars. They're doing all this other stuff, but yet there's a protocol in a way of taking them down lethal way.
Let me ask this question though, because Price said there's things that we don't know. We always focus on things that we don't know or the media said. So my thing is to you, do you really believe that a black dude would have been able to do that same thing? How many black people did you see with guns that night?
I didn't see very many black people there to begin with.
Okay, I was just wondering. Just a simple question. Do you think a black dude would have been able to get away with that same thing?
Well, there are black people that carry guns, open carry.
Do you think a black dude would have been able to get away with that same thing in that particular situation?
Probably so.
He murdered somebody.
No, so that's totally different. So for one, it's still questionable whether what he did was murder or self-defense. I've also seen several videos where individuals have shown
17.
It doesn't matter. Well, actually, in his state,
he wasn't in his state.
He wasn't in his state.
So, all right, so hold on. I'm going to explain that. So actually, in his state, 17 is the legal age for open carry or for carrying. So he was of legal age. Now, when you mention his state, when people say he drove from his state, that's hyperbolic. His state or where he stays is 30 minutes from that location. That's not a long drive. It's not like
but he still crossed state lines.
Cross state lines.
But it doesn't matter.
It does, because if I take drugs from Illinois to Wisconsin, I cross state lines. It's now a federal crime. It does matter if you.
It totally matters. It's called jurisdiction. It's called jurisdiction.
No,
you think an officer can drive?
I'm talking about the intent. So the only charge.
Who cares about the intent?
Hold on a second. Only charge that this guy will get is what you stated: carrying a weapon in that state. He won't be charged. He probably won't be charged for murder because there is video evidence showing that he wasn't the aggressor. Now, I'm not trying to. In no way am I trying to defend this guy. I'm just going solely off of what the facts that are actually being relayed now.
And my issue is that's part of the problem, because if I did the same exact thing that he did, I guarantee you, if I lived,
you won't.
my black tail would be having more charges than carrying whatever weapon.
You won't live.
I think that's
No worries, you won't live.
I don't think
Just
that's
don't try it, dog.
I don't
Oh,
think
it
that's
won't.
fair.
Trust me.
I don't think
Like,
that's
to me,
fair.
I get it. I hear it. To me, it's just, yeah, get to digging. Yeah, you'll find it. But like, it's countless videos where you see, like, what's my guy in Atlanta that was drunk that got killed?
But Gerard, you don't need a video.
Brooks. I just literally saw a video today. Like, this white guy, I mean, he was falling. Like, dude couldn't even walk. Not only did they not arrest him, it didn't get violent, they let him go. Like, he literally walked out. And my thing is this, if it's an isolated incident, I get it, right? I get it. But we're seeing consistent stuff in multiple states. So, I mean, you got some instances where, a black person, first off, we know the factual evidence. We know that blacks are way more likely to get charged for crimes that whites commit as well. So let's not act like that's a fallacy or
right. That's an absolute.
I mean, that starts in school. If Sweet Bailey goes to school and does the same thing as Lil Sarah, it's a 10 times chance Bailey's gonna get suspended before Sarah. And if Sarah
look at the prison numbers, bro,
it's gonna be much longer. So I mean, my thing is like, it's time out for just, and I'm not saying you're doing this, Price, but my thing is it's time out for like, oh, we're just jumping to conclude. Like, no, there's factual evidence where this stuff is happening. And I think the only thing that's happened is we got 45 in office. You got somebody who incites that nonsense. He's been campaigning on it. And now you got all these racists that have this green card to go out and do whatever they want to do. And unfortunately, if you're black, most of the time it's gonna come with no consequences. Like, you can't just reel off all these people, man. It's ridiculous. Like, oh, well, he's scared. Oh, he's a big guy. Oh, I was scared. Okay, you were scared. You thought he had a gun. Well, we did an investigation and we found out he didn't have a gun. So why aren't they going to jail? Where are the cops that killed Breonna Taylor? Like, we come to find out that was the wrong house. So you as a cop, you bust in the wrong house and literally murdered somebody. You took away somebody's mama, daughter, auntie, and it's my bad? And then a boyfriend come out scared and try to, protect his house, and he in jail.
And nobody else in jail.
How does that make sense? Make it make sense. That's all I say. Like, I feel like you can
listen,
dig deeper.
I got a question. Let me pose a question.
What's the question? What's the question?
How often do we see videos from the media where the cop was wrong and killed somebody that was white, that wasn't white, or Asian?
Listen.
I'm asking the question. I'm just asking the question.
I knew the question was coming. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Ask it.
That's the question. Like,
okay.
How often do we see other races? I'm not trying to justify anything. I'm asking, how often do we see other races killed and then see it on TV where the media is pushing?
J-Star, I'm gonna let you, because you've been grinning and smirking. I'm gonna let you answer that first. I know me and James got some stuff.
I don't know if I can answer that one, because I can only think of one instance where, like, there was a child killed when his dad was trying to get away, and they shot.
I want to know the insinuation before I answer the question, because what are you insinuating?
It's not like the media, they're taping it. Half these videos get online because it's a bystander with a cell phone.
Okay, so to me,
you take away the cell phone, it still wouldn't get there. It gets to the media, but
right, it ain't like the media, like,
because it's been over social media and all that.
So y'all are well aware of my beliefs when it comes to the media, and that the media is a powerful tool, in my opinion, and that I feel like a lot of stuff is driven by the media. And that don't mean that it's not happening at all. It definitely don't mean it's not happening at all. But I do think the media does share a role in pushing a narrative and making us believe what they would like for us to believe, period.
And what's that?
Yeah, what is that?
What is that? What are they trying to make us believe?
Well, so I do feel like that the media is trying to make us believe that that there is a that this is not about police being trained properly, but this is solely about the killing of Black men. That it doesn't happen at all in other races because we don't even get that. That's why I just asked y'all, did y'all ever see it?
So
we don't see it.
So the question, so I can answer. So you do see it. The thing is, it's not disproportionately happening to them. So that's why you don't see the amount of videos. But I've seen the video where they had the Mexican kid down in Arizona and they were yelling at him to cross his legs and do this and all this other stuff. They shot him. Milwaukee, the Somalian American that shot the white lady, and he went to jail. Like that was the only cop that I know that went to jail over shooting a citizen, and she happened to be a white lady that wasn't even from the United States. So yeah, they have it, and it is an issue of police not having the training, but also it's a bigger part that they are actually hunting us down. Like when you have the sheriff of that same sheriff's department that shot this dude 7 times in the back, sitting up here and saying that, you know, Black people are a scum on the earth. They create all these babies. They have, you know, all this crackhead and this and that. And he's saying this as a public figure that's been elected to this. And he's saying this out to his constituency. Like, what do you think happens top down as far as the rest of the police department when you think they have the leaders sitting up here talking about that to folks? And then in the police department, you got the police and everything like that out there at that protest, giving out water, giving out high fives, saying, "Hey, we're glad that you're here. Keep this line." You're trying to deputize. He's even gone on to people have asked to deputize themselves so they can go up here and act all bad with their guns and stuff like that. And if it wasn't for the liability, I'm sure he would probably allow that. Because that's the reason why he brung it up, to let people know that it was on the table at one point.
So this is why I asked about what's the insinuation. And he gave me that. You know, basically that it's overblown. They want us to believe. So let me get some facts here, because we like to talk about facts and the facts that's missing. Here's some facts. And Deezy, you tell me if this hit you. J-Star, you tell me if this hit you. Here's some facts. You can get on the internet right now and you can find hate groups. You can look up a GoFundMe for Kyle Rittenhouse for being such a hero. You can look on Facebook and look at your friends and say that he's a hero. You can look at the far right, as they like to say, and look at these QAnons and all these organizations that perpetuate hate. You can look at the president himself that will not go see Jacob Blake, but instead will talk about Kyle and say it looks like it was self-defense. You would speak up for that, regardless if it was an ongoing investigation. You don't have the full picture. It doesn't matter. But you have all of these things. People you may know. You have all of these things. You look at Portland. They don't want you in the streets. They riding around shooting marbles out of paint guns. They got pepper spray. Who in the world, James, if you tell me you got that much pepper spray, you going to jail. Illegal substance. They got pepper spray in vats, blowing them out the back of the car for people standing up for the basic right to be human beings. This is fact. So there's no question whether we are being hunted. There's no question whether there are people out here that hate us. Now, you can say to what magnitude all you want, but the fact of the matter is, if there's enough people to elect a racist president, there's enough people out here that hate your guts to the point that they don't want you existing on this earth. So to say that it's disproportionate or it's overblown by the media, man, it's fact. You cannot deny that because it's in your face every single day.
Man.
So real quick, this was back between when Bush was leaving office. In 2006, a little bit before that, they did a report. Department of Homeland Security did a report with the FBI, and they show where white hate groups and the right-wing groups are infiltrating sheriff departments and police departments at an alarming rate. The domestic terrorism, you know, we throw that word around because we're talking about like we're going to give it, a title or anything like that, but that is actually true. Like, if it wasn't for the war and everything like that, as far as the other the other terrorism that they were trying to fight, that was a lost study that just kind of went up under the desk because nobody had the bandwidth to actually to fight it. But I mean, if you guys have the time, Google that. It's a good read as far as just how they are in the police department everywhere. I mean, they got groups, they got secret society groups. There's this one group in California. They wear a special badge under their badge based off of how many black people they shoot.
Yeah, I'm Jason. I'm gonna let you get in there, but I just want to bring to the forefront that the point that I'm making is we talking about hearts right now. We can't talk about what we think, what facts remain, and things like this. Man, Kyle was a 17-year-old kid with going to fight against Black Lives Matter, right or wrong. He was going to fight against Black Lives Matter, supposedly to protect businesses from what these people are supposed to be peacefully protesting. And even if they not
peacefully protesting, they had guns as well.
So
but they were shooting or something?
No, they weren't.
Jason,
go ahead.
Protest because they had guns.
Man, I think
they not peaceful protest because they were the counter group.
Man, I think
it wasn't like either side was there shooting people to begin with. That wasn't the case. It was
I'm not even talking about one particular instance, though.
He was there, and like I said, and it comes off as I'm trying to defend this guy. But I have actually seen the video where this guy it probably was self-defense. I feel like we get too quickly, we make a decision on what we think happened without knowing what happened. It's an emotional decision, in my opinion.
Well, I think the frustrating part, I got two things to say. Frustrating part there is, people say, well, you're making too quick of a decision to say without the evidence and all this to say it was or he shouldn't have shot those people. But in the same breath, people say, well, it looked like self-defense. So are you not making too quick of a judgment without the without the facts?
No, because I've seen video of where the actual video was broken down as to, and this is one person's opinion, so their opinion could be wrong. But based off of this video, the guy broke it down what actually happened. He showed video clips, which is all we have currently. Video clips of what actually happened. One of the guys tried to hit the guy over the head. The other guy threatened him and said he was going to kill him himself. The other guy, the two guys that were killed.
Should have never been there.
Heart's intent. Let me give you this.
But nobody should have been there. You can say that both ways.
I think of this scenario, man, and this is me and my I think too much scenario. I just think like, what if this guy went to a school, right? School he don't even belong to, and he did this. He flashed a gun, and 5 people jumped on him, and he shot all 5. Could he say, well, that was self-defense? Picture that. Is that at that point self-defense? Even though he probably wouldn't have hurt nobody, he may have just wanted to flash the gun or something. He may have. So it feels different. It looks different when you paint the picture in a different atmosphere or a different.
It always will.
And one could say, well, he wasn't trying to hurt nobody or whatever. Associating that with he's just 17, or one can say, well, he didn't go to that school to shoot nobody, even though 5 people are dead. You know what I mean? Because they assumed he was a threat and they did what they needed to do. It's just like when if you get beat up by some people trying to jump you, somebody you may know. If Vito and O decide they wanted to come jump me, and I'm walking down the street. And now, we had a dispute on Facebook or something, and now we're going to fight it out, and then I just come out and shoot you, and so I think the self-defense claim it is used loosely. It depending on the scenario, people feel differently about where they are and what happened. And I think you kind of have to look at it, kind of like Vito said earlier, you kind of have to look at it from a heart's perspective, because nothing good was going to come out of that. Nothing good.
Bro, I linked the video in the group, and it's obvious that nobody looked at it because the video clearly shows.
So let me ask you,
is the one with the caption
shows that it was self-defense.
Based on the caption.
I think everybody saw that.
So the video that you saying that is showing self-defense, it shows when he's getting, hit with the skateboard and he shoots old buddy in the stomach and then he shoots the other person in the arm, correct?
Yeah.
Correct.
Is that the beginning? What happened?
So let me ask you this.
No,
so the video doesn't show where he shot the guy in the head. It shows the aftermath of it. We don't know what was said on either side of that. We don't know if
we do. Yes, we do. The video explains why the guy got shot in the head. He was the one that threatened him. The guy that got shot in the head was the one that threatened him.
But here's the thing. A threat doesn't give you the option.
You're right. You're right. But he also attacked. The video shows that. The video shows that he attacked.
He attacked the guy shot in the head?
Yes, the guy that got shot in the head was the aggressor. He attacked him.
Attacked him by
it was the bald head guy.
I don't remember seeing that.
That's actually what made it legal, was the fact that he was running towards him when he shot him.
Yeah. So again, we can sit there and talk about the facts all day long and what facts will remain, because you saying he was running at him. So the dude could have been running at him in self-defense as well if we're gonna go on a threat, because the dude could have said, man, I'll shoot you.
Charging at someone is not self-defense.
I didn't see that.
I'm just saying, we can look at it in several different ways. We can look at it several different ways. Charging at somebody also ain't assault. I can charge at you and dodge you.
What if he was running by?
I mean, exactly.
Right.
Anyway, so, I want you to get back in there, bro, because, just kind of a closing piece of this. But, I'm going to ask you a question. So all these facts and things that we keep bringing up, do you think that Black people are given these same benefit of the doubt, the same facts, the things that we need to look at and make sure that it's self-defense or not? You got the right to shoot somebody in the head because they running at you? Okay.
Try.
Do you think that's what you think, Deez?
Somebody that just said they was gonna kill you. Let's add that in there. That's part of it.
Bro, that doesn't matter.
The lady that
doesn't matter.
If you try that, good luck. I'm gonna kill you. Pow. Okay.
So if I come to your house, so if I call you right now and I say, V, I'm coming to your house to kill you, I bust in your house and charge at you, are you not shooting me?
Yeah, but you went to his house though.
You went
to his house.
He's where he's at. Where
else
is he gonna be?
I don't know. That's a good example, Price.
If we standing outside,
what you trying to say?
If we standing outside and Vito said, "Hey, Price, I'm gonna kill you," and then he charges at me, do I not have the grounds to shoot him? Or am I supposed to let him charge me and kill me? That doesn't make any sense.
I can agree with you. I can understand that. Yeah.
I hear you.
But if I'm a 17-year-old, if I'm a 17-year-old kid with an AR,
it wasn't his gun. It was a friend's gun.
That's even worse.
No, he wasn't there to kill people. He was there to protect his friend's establishment.
But then at this point, we should be talking about
he's walking down the street, not in front of his friend's establishment no more.
What was his friend's
if this same scenario would have happened, and he no. If he was standing in front of his friend's establishment, like he was protecting,
he wasn't standing in front of his friend's establishment because they were chasing him. You obviously didn't watch the video.
They wasn't.
Go ahead, Taylor. Go ahead. You can go ahead, because I'm the only one that watched the full video.
I think the one thing I'm not hearing people say is the victims, and I kind of want to touch on that because the victims were white, and I think it goes to show, like, as much as we are talking about this subject and as much as how big it is, it doesn't matter what the race is.
Yes, it does, nigga. Don't start that. Yes, it does, nigga. They happen to be white people defending a black cause. It does matter what race.
That's what I'm saying. It's this is a big situation because it was defending this cause, right? But the fact that they're white, it's not like it's being like, oh, we don't care that they were white, that you know, that action happened. You know what I mean? So that's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean,
Well, I do think if the victims happened to have been Black, then it would have been blown even more out of proportion, in my opinion.
it's not a life. Taking a life is not anything I consider to be blown out of proportion. The fact is, he didn't die. If the danger, and we're gonna move on, if the danger was so bad for this guy, you mean to tell me you're gonna kill 2 people and you still good? Fam was walking down the street with his hand off the gun. If people were chasing him, what made them just be like, oh, he done
go home?
So we're just gonna ignore. We're gonna ignore
You don't call nobody. You don't.
So we're going to ignore that they have guns. We're going to ignore that he got hit over the head with a skateboard, which is a weapon at that point.
So this is my only question, and we can move on. Why he didn't call nobody? Why he didn't turn himself in? Why didn't
he tried to turn himself in? They ain't want him.
He tried running away. He tried running away, but the people were chasing him.
Now you obviously didn't watch the video
because he shot somebody.
He was walking. He was walking. Bro, I have yet to see this dude come into his
the aggressor.
He was chasing away. They were chasing him with a skateboard because he had just shot somebody.
No. So he was walking away because he had a rifle or had an AR, and the people were pissed off that he had this gun. So he was walking away. He wasn't the aggressor. The dude that got shot in the head.
I heard some audio too.
That's why he got shot.
So here's my thing, right? Because we always.
If this guy was Black, hold on a second. If this guy was a Black guy that did the exact same thing, you guys would not have that same opinion. Period.
So here's my point to it.
Yes, I would.
If this guy was Black, you would not have that same opinion.
You are out of your mind. You know what?
My thing is, the minute he left his house to go there,
his intent was bad.
If the roles were reversed and this dude was a Black guy who was a liberal, you guys would be
if he went 30 minutes to another state, I would not be defending him.
The guy for standing up for himself.
We're gonna move on.
No, I would not, because to me the error happened when he left his house.
If a Black guy, J-Rock,
I'm telling you, if a Black guy, if Vito got a business in Hattiesburg and I leave my house,
he goes 30 minutes away
with guns ablaze to go down to this town that I don't live in.
He did not leave his house with a gun. It wasn't his gun. He didn't get a gun until he got to the state.
Forget the gun. He left his house with the intention to go there. Why?
Yes, to protect his friend's business.
He's gonna protect his friend's business.
What's he gonna protect?
Oh, he was going to get the gun.
Looting the business and burning it down.
Oh, he was
10 years old. Okay.
Oh, he was going to get the gun.
Go ahead.
But no, I was just saying that the whole thing about if he was a Black guy, that it would be a different conversation.
It would.
And the reason why I disagree is because we've had conversations about Black people. I'm gonna say one thing about the protests and things like that, whether it's looting or peaceful. I feel like we're giving these people a platform. These hate people that Price don't think exists in mass numbers like they do. Those people.
That's not what I said.
Well, you said it was overblown, so the media overblow it. But I feel like
it's hate on both sides. We've been talking for about 20, 30 minutes now. Ain't nobody mentioning Antifa. It's another hate group.
Man,
we ain't had a chance.
Man, come on.
We mentioned that at all.
We talking about Antifa now.
Hate is hate, man. It's period.
Hate ain't hate. Period, my brother. Let me a brief education on why hate isn't hate. We have a new definition, which is the same old definition. Hate isn't hate because we are not in a position to impede on progress for any other race as a Black race. So hate can't be hate. If hate was hate, if hate was hate, then we would be able to make a bigger amount of noise as a Black community, and we cannot. So the hate that they have for us is very, very, very powerful, and it's much stronger, and it impedes on progress for the Black community in so many different ways every day. So hate ain't hate. I'm sorry, but
liberal hate from Antifa is the exact same hate as the hate from these other groups that you mentioned on the conservative side. It's all hate.
That's what's up.
But so I want to talk about like the what happened because of this situation. So we got the NBA Social Justice Coalition that's forming up. I got a serious question for y'all. Like, and we can't spend too much time on it, but what, and it's not a leading question, it's an honest question. I really want to know if y'all know, but what policies are we fighting for? What policies, laws, and things are we fighting to change? Exactly. Because I come into a situation where I feel like I'm educated, but I'm not educated enough on it. So I feel dumb about it. Like I can't sit here and tell you that this is the policy, this is the law, this is what I want to do to stop these social injustices. Like police reform is one thing, but that only applies to criminal activity, or not necessarily criminal activity, because everybody that go to jail don't necessarily belong there or get mistreated. But when we talk about criminal reform, that's kind of a blanket. What policies and laws are we fighting for right now as a group of people?
Right. I'll get started. I personally feel like the policies and laws. I'm okay. So I'm not as I don't know all the laws and I don't know all the policies. But what I do know is that everybody needs to be judged accordingly to the same law. So, so if Tyrone gets busted for 10 pounds of weed, he needs the same amount of time as little Tucker, who got busted for 10 pounds of weed.
But
So
we know that won't happen.
So that's what I'm saying. We don't need to enforce the same ones, or we need to enforce the same laws for everybody.
Yeah. So see, that's and going to the next person before we go into it. But see, that's what I'm saying, because I understand that the same way you do. That's a social change. We asking for hearts to be changed, but I want to know what are the things. Like, I should be able to pull up a page on the internet right now, and I actually tried to search this. I should be able to pull up a page on the internet right now that identifies some things, 1, 2, 3 list view, that say, hey, this is what we're looking to change.
So I mean, I know there's the police reform, and that's the only thing that the one singular thing that I've been trying to kind of, because like you said, it seems like sometimes it's all discombobulated, so many people and their different views and different points. But just from what I've read and seen, not at a state or federal level, but municipalities are going in and saying, okay, we're defunding, or we're moving funds from this. We're creating community review boards. We're creating accountability reviews within the police department. So those have been put on the laws, but I think it's municipality, city level. Again, you're in that city, or if you're just not reading, you're not hearing that. It's nothing state or federal, and I think that's where we kind of need to put the pressure on, because that's where we're really going to start seeing the change.
See. I mean, I'm kind of getting what I'm asking, and these are what can you help a brother out with that, or what you
yeah, I mean, y'all know I'm real like big on like education and stuff, and I know part of the reason why Jarvis and Reggie live where they live is because of the school systems. And I don't really think that is wholly fair, right? Because if you can't afford to go to Prosper or Saxe or in my kid's case, Richardson, you're kind of left with the education that you get. And let's be honest, most of the people who are stuck with their education are not white. They're not all black like me, but they definitely aren't white. And I think that's a big part of what needs to change to make things better. And if we don't get laws together that help make sure that the same education that Bailey gets in Saxe is the same education that Jesus gets in Dallas. And it's completely different right now. I mean, so different, it's ridiculous.
We can go into a whole conversation about that. And it looks like we may have lost Vito. So, but I agree with you. It should not, but I think it's
Can y'all hear
unfortunate.
me though?
I
Yeah, I
can't
can hear you.
Man, I don't know what's going on with my screen. I hope it's still recording. But
Yeah, it is.
It
we're
is.
still recording, yeah.
all right,
Yeah,
go
I
ahead.
think. Yeah, I don't want to dive down into that.
Well, you can't just say that it's just not fair. I mean, that's
So
I think it's
D,
unfortunate.
but before I let you move on, so is that something that you know that they're fighting to change? Is that one of the list items?
I know that's something that I personally have been
Okay,
trying to work on figuring out how to get changed. It's
so it's
just, I
not
mean,
necessarily a
to just say
protest
that it's
item.
not fair. No, it's not. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
because to
got
say
you.
that it's just not fair, I mean, because that means it's all about, it's deeper than that, because Jarvis and Brandon make this much money so they can live out here. That has nothing to do with the kid. So to say that that's just not fair is complete like BS in my book, because the kid has nothing to do with where they live. They don't choose that.
Yeah, I got you, man.
You talking about sticking into like systemic racism? That is all the way there. If you ask me, I mean, we're lucky that we made it this far, but it's just not the case for everybody out here like that.
Yeah, man. Go ahead, J Rock, man. I'm trying to figure out what's going on my screen. So is it just showing my name?
Yeah, just show your name.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Go ahead, J Rock. Can you help me out with that question, bro? Do
You're
you
asking
know?
for like specific laws?
Yeah, I mean, just any so just to kind of reword it. So every time we talk and and we see these protests and we see people out there, I feel like there may be one or two or three people that are at the head of that protest that may have an idea what they're fighting for, but I feel like it's so many people behind them that don't necessarily know, and they just out there chanting and saying things, but when that's over, do they know what petition to go sign or what laws they trying to get rid of? Do they know? You know what I'm saying? That's my question.
Yeah, so I think, I mean, in my eyes, that to me that points back to education. Like we don't know the laws. Like you don't know the laws, and like everybody's kind of that's spoken and said don't know the laws. I don't think that's by accident. I think that's because laws aren't thrown in front of us for us to know them. I mean, I think back. I mean, you think back. One of my issues is I feel like the laws are completely outdated. Because when you think it back, I mean, not to try to get too off subject, but like, I mean, think the police. Why was the police originally created? The police were originally created to go capture the slaves that got away. And I feel like you just got an evolution. Like you got it's been systematic things put in place to not just hold back, but to hurt a particular race. You got the crack epidemic. Where do we get the crack from? We're in the poverty areas and we don't have any money and all that. Where'd the drugs come from? Where'd the crack come from? But then you got stuff like the three strikes. Are black people just that much more violent and what, roguish than other people? No. But if you're over policing the black neighborhoods, then of course you're gonna find more black criminals. So I think, like I said, I don't know a specific, law number this, but I just feel like the ones that know it's an educational thing, and I think that's a accountability piece that we have to take on.
Yeah.
As ourselves. It's unfortunately it's something that you're going to have to go research and learn yourself.
Yeah.
You could depend on others. Like I'll say on the school thing here in Memphis, like the school system is a huge hot topic here. Like we just had our district representatives and all that, and like like 3 people just got unseated that's been in their positions for like 30 plus years. So just imagine what effect that's had on the school system. When you got the same person in this position for 20, 30 years, you know what I'm saying? And every time they're taking money out of the school, taking money out of that school system. And then we turn around and expect the kids to function. How they gonna function when they hungry? They don't even know what they eat. They don't, you know what I'm saying? So I think just specific, laws. I mean, I think you can look at like the drug laws. You know, shoot, I don't know the exact law, but I mean, at one point in time, they were giving like 5-10 years per rock. I mean, you know how big a crack rock is, and you getting 5 to 10 years per crack rock. And I'm like, well, okay, let's dig deeper. Who typically sells crack? Crack is a poor drug. So you know what I'm saying? I'm like, so like I don't think you look at things like that. But then if you go across town and they got pretty much the same base, but because it's not cooked down or whatever, it's now cocaine. You get less time for cocaine than you get for crack, but they're the same drug, just in a different form. Like that's not an accident. You know what I'm saying? So
I know that's what I was saying. Yeah.
So I mean, I think you got systemic laws that were put in place for a specific group of people, and what you have today is just, I mean, stuff is just coming to a head. Like people, I guess that's what they mean by "Make America Great Again." I mean, that's the only because I don't know. I mean, I'm only 34, 36, but I mean, what my parents tell me, it wasn't good when they came in. So, I mean, like I say, I just think, man, we're getting, this isn't about happenstance. What's happening is what they wanted to happen. So I think it's just going to come with self-education, and then the people that know it, or the people that got a general understanding, we just got to get out. And I think like with us, we got to get out and just show them, the alternative way. Why I can't, change the law. I may be able to get out there and show them how to maneuver around it. So I just think you can't fix it. I don't see it being fixed.
Come back. Hold on.
I think he said he gonna close it down. Price, I ain't heard from you, man. Go and drop in there.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and say what I was. Okay. Yeah. So I just feel like we have a movement currently that isn't well defined, and what I mean by that is, during the civil rights movement, people were aware. Everyone from the leader to the very last person was aware of their role in the movement. If it was a sit-in, they knew what the goal was for that sit-in. If there was a bus strike, they knew what the ultimate goal was in the strike. Currently, in my opinion, we're not aware of what the actual obtainable goal is, and it's much harder to define social injustice change in a way that can be easily defined, in my opinion. So, I just feel like as far as like laws and stuff, this particular movement is so different that it's hard to explain it when you ask us what are the laws that we're currently asking for, because these laws would be so much more in depth, I believe, than just we're trying to have a sit-in to be able to eat at a restaurant. We're trying to get on a bus. It's much easier to understand those things, in my opinion, than it is changing social injustice and how that's actually done.
So the conception of that question came from a comment that I read that basically said, it was a white person that said, Jim Crow laws don't exist, so y'all basically fighting for nothing, because systemic racism doesn't exist. Of course, I disagree with that, but it did make me reflect on what exactly he was trying to convey. As a person that don't live it, you can't necessarily recognize it, or a person that's not close to it, you can't recognize it. So, that person's ignorance didn't bother me, but it did shine a light on the fact that, or what you just said, Price, is there's no clear definition. And honestly, one of the things that I have always said, and I heard a homeless guy say it on the W. Kamau Bell show the other night, and he was basically saying we need to stop asking for a seat at the table and build our own table. I personally feel that 100%. But then I also started thinking about, with me saying that, what does that exactly mean? I don't think that we can change all these hearts. I don't think that we can sit here and wait for MLK III actually said, I don't think we can sit here and wait for a Messiah, meaning the people that are in power. We can't sit and continue to wait on them. while I agree with J Rock 100% about a lot of these laws and a lot of this stuff, you know, it definitely needs to change. J Star said as well. Some of the punishments don't match up. That's clear. That's obvious. The prison system is riddled with black people. 1 in 3 black men go to prison or some crazy number like that. So while there needs to be change, I think a lot of that change is going to have to begin with the heart. I heard Pastor say Christ is the only person that can change this, because that's the only person that can change the heart. So with that being said, I think it's important for us to start to recognize exactly what we're asking for. And us as a team of guys right here, right now, I feel like it's important for us to start, you know, saying, this is what we're fighting for. This is how we're going to change it personally. This is how I think we can change it personally. So me personally, to answer that question that I gave y'all, and the question was, and I want to give y'all an opportunity to do it before we close. The question was, what can we do right now in order to make a change? What I feel, just from some soul searching, some thinking, some deep thought, what I feel we can do is, and I think J.R. said this as well, we're talking about laws, we can be a resource. We need to be a resource. We need to be a resource to each other. We need to be a resource to those that's close to us. We need to be a resource to those that are close to us and their friends that are close to them. So, meaning we start removing some of those degrees of separation. Use our education to take an opportunity to educate others. Use our time, our resources, whether it be internet or not, to use it for somebody else that may not have it. We know a lawyer, we know some doctors, we know some nurses, we know IT people, we know construction people. Each and every one of us here knows somebody that's in that arena that they can call and say, here's some information. So if you got a friend that may or may not be looking for a home to stay in, and you know, they trying to figure out the best way to get along, we can call J-Rock and say, look, if they're not treating you fairly over here, you can go here. If it's a possibility you can join a credit union, you got a family member that's in the credit union, you can join that credit union as well. Tell them to send you an invite. These are things that aren't readily available to people all the time. So that's what I came out of that question with, because there's nothing that I've done just to get up on my behind and say, this is what I've done to make a change in my community. But I said and I'll say it again, I'm become a greater resource for the people that are around me, and continue to perpetuate that change in that way by educating all of those. So that was mine.
I like that.
Yeah.
I just think what can we do now? And me and my house kind of does it as much as possible. Like, I just feel like you said, I don't think you can change people's hearts. You just can't. But my thing is, you can change in most cases, and there's always exceptions, but you can change where your money goes. I think back, you think back to like Price brought up, civil rights, and I think back to just our ancestors. Like, people in power do stuff for a reason. Like, it's not an accident they burned down Black Wall Street. It's not an accident that every time we as a culture built something of economic value, it was destroyed. What I feel like we have to do, and I think we can do it individually, and then like you said, even in the community, we can get in the community and promote that, is we've got to get to the point to where we are controlling our dollar. Because I think when you make a money move, you don't have to change their heart, because they're going to change because they want that money. They're going to come after that money. So what can we do? Support each, like support your own. J-Star's doing it. He got the page, the restaurant page in Dallas. Like, support that, because at that point, it's bigger than J-Star going to my restaurant and eating a burger. He's putting money in my pocket for my family, and then I, in turn, put that money back in my community. So if we get enough to do that, I don't have to beg you to come over here and give me money for this school, because I can build my own school. I don't have to beg you to put quality produce in this store, because we can build our own stores. So to me, I feel like as we've become dependent. We've lost our independence as a group of people. And I think you know, just sit on the other side of the table, why would I change? Why would I meet your demands? You need me for everything.
I think a lot of times they don't even recognize that the need for the change because you're so separated from, you know, day-to-day life for other
Right.
people.
And I think that's the issue. I think we've lost that. The
Yeah.
one thing we've lost, and of course, we all know some systemic part too, but it's also accountability on our part.
So as y'all go through, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna challenge because, you know, that's part of building their own table, right? That's part of building our own table. So my challenge to you, bro, is to how we as a group can start doing that, because I mean, I've said that a million times, but I don't have the capital to do it. So I challenge you as we get ready to go to the next person to figure out how we can start doing that sooner and start, you know, whether it's finding out people to invest in us or, you know, finding grants to invest in somebody else or whatever, you know.
Mm-hmm. You want me to answer it now?
No. I mean, we're gonna have internal conversations and
I got
get some movement.
Well, I would say for me, you know, as far as what we can do, you know, I'll say this in this general response, but I think it is important that voting is important, you know, to some degree. You know, will it embark major change? You know, probably not, but you know, I do think it's important to vote. I would also, you know, do as Vito said, you know, in using the organizations, networks that you're within. You don't have to be large networks. It could be a group of your friends, 5 or 6 of us, you know, getting together with HBCU and doing stuff within the community or the communities that we're in. You know, that can evoke some change. Time is another thing. I think over time itself will invoke change. You know, for me personally, the way I view life is not the same way my father viewed life, and it's definitely not the way my son views life. You know, him and his friends it's a totally different time, you know, a totally different thing. The way they perceive things are totally different. And I believe a lot of that is due to time. You know, but lastly, I'll say, you did mention Marcus Garvey. I mean, not Marcus Garvey, but you mentioned that we should try to get our own seat at the table or our own table. You know, stop trying to get a seat at this specific table. Well, in my opinion, Marcus Garvey tried to do that. That was his train of thought was, we don't have to get a seat at that table. But the honest truth is, the system just isn't set up for individual change. So it's extremely difficult to invoke change individually. That's a major change. But I do think that some of the things that we talked about will and definitely can help improve change gradually. You know, so.
All right.
I'm gonna tell you.
James, go ahead.
We got some smart brothers in this group because every last one of the points that went before me was a point that I was trying to convey at some point. So I won't be too long. I already said it, but no, I think it goes back to all of what we just talked about. I mean, you know, education, voting. Again, a lot of these things, like I said, it won't happen overnight. I think sometimes with a little bit of us being the microwave society that we've become over the years, I think that's what we're seeing, you know, with the Instagram and this and that, as far as, you know, what are we doing, and just to kind of, again, that discombobulated feel. But I think, you know, if we keep our head down and keep a lot of the different topics that we talk about as far as like educating our youth for the next generation so they don't have to go through what we had to go through the same way we didn't have to go through what our parents went through, I think, you know, over time and we can evoke. But the question was, what can we do now? And like I said, I think the best thing we can do is just organize. I think that's, again, going back to Price's thing, as far as the difference between now and the civil rights is that they were organized. You know, they knew from top down, like you said, what everybody needed to do in the organization. They had leaders to speak and let everybody know where they fed into the machine to make, the levers move and work. So at some point, I think, we would just need to be, as a group, more organized and again, look out for each other and all that. So
I want to clarify one thing, James, because I don't particularly have a challenge for you. But when we say education, we ain't talking about history and math.
Right, of course.
We're talking about education from a standpoint of knowing your surroundings, knowing what's going on, knowing what applies to you, and knowing what doesn't have to apply to you, meaning your entire life. Financial.
Well, like I said, like I always use, this has been my motto. It was told from my dad. I had a poster with all the different cars on it, but knowledge is power. And I just feel that. I mean, in any walk of life, I mean, individually, as a group, once you have that knowledge, I mean, you have the power. So,
and you know what I found out that's even more powerful as I got older, because that statement is absolutely true, but the ability to seek it is even more powerful. So,
yeah,
what was that?
Yeah.
But go ahead, Jason.
I'll hop in there, and we can let DZ wrap it up. Man, for me, J-Rod definitely took one of my answers, but I appreciate you acknowledging that, J-Rod, about the restaurant group. One of the things that I thought about, after all this went on is I just felt like an empowerment that kind of came upon me, and the ability for us to empower each other and circle the money around that we have, because we have a lot of money, So I won't touch too much into that, but it was very important for me to know that we're supporting each other and we're helping each other out, and because I get support from people, and like, oh, I didn't know you ran this company, and it's like, yeah, I want to support you, I want to help you out, things like that. I think the other one, and it's in us all. It's in DZ. I know it's in you, James. Price, I know it's in you, J-Rock. I've seen it with the basketball group. And Vito, from this whole ideology of what we're doing now, the mentorship. We all want to teach somebody. Whether it's J-Rock saying, hey, y'all, come check out this Forex that I'm learning, or Vito and Price, giving us business lessons from the shoe game, whatever it may be, and as Jesus said, education side, passion is in education. So I think it's important for us today to send that to our youth, so they won't have to go through this, because we didn't learn stock markets. We didn't learn that, so why should we proceed on in where we are now, and not pass that knowledge, or not even learn it to pass it on to the next generation? So outside of, education such as that, like Vito, the examples you gave, just the mentorship, that's very important for me, whether it's just about the facts of life or whatever we do. It just, I love talking to like my younger cousin and telling him, these are the things out here. They not doing it no different than you can be, man. You can do all of this. It don't matter. You just go a different route. You know what I'm saying? So that's my answer, bro.
Gotcha. Good stuff. These are what you got,
man. Well, I was definitely going to say mentorship, because y'all know that's one of my big things, but testimony, man. I mean, going out and just talking about it and being about it. We all can do it. We all see it. I mean, like James talking about, like, organization, man. That's big. That's huge. Not just being stagnant. I mean,
that's easy to do, right?
It's just, I mean, just not letting any of it hold you back, not letting any of it hold you down. I mean, the reason why, this is my opinion, the reason why it worked, back in the original civil rights movement is they none of them cared what was going to happen at the end of it. They were all willing to make the sacrifice and risk whatever. They weren't worried about what would, whether they were going to end up in jail, I mean, I know it's probably not gonna go that far now, but I'm just saying, they really had a like, don't give a damn attitude about it. Whatever was gonna happen was gonna happen because they were gonna sit in, and Rosa Parks wasn't gonna move on the bus, and they were gonna go walk in the restaurant. They were gonna drink at the water fountain. They didn't care what was gonna happen at the end of that. And
I will say, man, they did all of that for us.
No, I know,
All
but
what you're saying.
I'm saying exactly. And I'm saying we should have the same attitude.
Right.
When we do things, when we speak, we shouldn't worry about what others think about us or what's going to happen, because there's always going to be fallback. There's always going to be pushback. There's always going to be somebody that's not going to like what you're trying to do. And if people don't like it, then that's probably mean you might be doing the right thing. You might be on the right track. So I truly believe if you just put it out there, let it all hang out, just do what you do, we can make it work and make a change.
All right. So my challenge to you is to figure out how do we put that into action sooner rather than later. I know we got the corona on us now, but like I said, we're gonna have some internal talks and figure out how to make change and do that right now. So I appreciate y'all boys, man. HBCU at it again, but we out right now.
All right.